This section describes the setup procedure for the LifePulse. Setup procedures for the LifePulse include making connections in 3 places: the rear panel of the LifePulse, the front panel of the LifePulse, and the WhisperJet patient box. The following steps detail the rear panel setup procedures. First, plug in the power cord to a standard 110 volt outlet, or preferably an uninterruptible power supply, a UPS. Second, connect the high-pressure oxygen hose from a low-flow air oxygen blender. Should be 0 to 30 liters per minute output. Or the output from the low-flow port, 2 to 100 liters per minute, of a standard blender to the mixed gas input fitting. You need a minimum pressure of 30 psi to operate the LifePulse. Now attach the other end of the high-pressure oxygen hose to the port on the rear panel of the LifePulse labeled Mixed Gas Input. Third, connect the patient box to the ventilator by its electrical cable attached to the multi-pin connector. Just apply a little inward pressure as you rotate the connector until the connector seats into place in its receptacle. Once you do that, then you can tighten the O-ring to secure the patient box to the back of the jet. Fourth, adjust the volume of the audible alarms using the alarm volume dial. Left will turn the volume down, right will turn the volume up. The following steps will detail the front panel setup procedures. First, insert the humidifier cartridge into the cartridge door. You do this by just dropping it in the way you might load an old cassette deck. Latch the door shut to make sure that all the electrical connections between the cartridge and the LifePulse have been made. Second, locate the water inlet tube. That's a clear tube running from the lower right corner of the cartridge, and it will have a check valve and a lure fitting on the end. Third, install the water inlet tube by placing the clear tube into the pump housing, lining it up along the little white fingers that you see in the back of the pump, and then close the pump door and securely pinch the water inlet tube inside. Finally, connect the water transfer tube to the lure connector on the end of the water inlet tubing. Closing the water supply tube securely in the pump prevents accidental overfilling by gravity feed. It's not very likely that you will overfill or that someone will take the water supply line out of the pump, but it is a potential, and if that happens, you certainly don't want to gravity feed water into the cartridge. Fourth, tap the sterile bag with the other end of the water transfer tube and open the tubing clamp. Always use sterile water to humidify the gas delivered by the LifePulse. You should never use normal saline. Also, make sure that the sterile water bag is positioned at or below the level of the humidifier. This is very important, again, so that you don't gravity fill. You want to make sure that there is no potential that the humidifier cartridge would overfill by just by the force of gravity if for some reason someone should remove the water supply line from the water pump. Fifth, connect the green gas inlet tube to the large barbed connector labeled Gas Out. Sixth, connect the small diameter purge tube to the barbed connector labeled Purge. That's it. You've completed the setup procedure for the front panel of the LifePulse. The following steps detail the patient box connections. First, locate the tan-colored pinch tubing portion of the circuit just beyond where the red and white wires terminate inside the circuit. This tubing again is called the pinch tubing, and you should, second, place the pinch tubing in line with the pinch valve opening on top of the whisper jet. Third, now hold the pinch tubing on each side of the pinch valve opening. Fourth, press the push to load button with your thumb. Fifth, pull the pinch tubing into the pinch valve until you feel it snap into place. You do this by stretching the tube on each end. If you do that, the pinch tubing will slide right into place firmly within the jaws of the pinch valve. Note, the entire width of the pinch tubing should be within the pinch valve jaws. Make sure that it is completely recessed into the jaws of the pinch valve and is secured in place. 6. Connect the small purge tube to the barb connector on the end of the whisper jet labeled "From Purge." That's it. You've completed setup procedures for the whisper jet patient box. The disposable humidifier cartridge and circuit are now ready for operation, and the LifePulse is ready to be turned on. Before we turn on the LifePulse, I want to make you aware of 2 cautions that should be noted about the setup procedure. Patients are often placed on the LifePulse on an emergency basis. You can save a lot of time if the LifePulse is stored clean and partially set up, all ready for use. The disposable cartridge, circuit, water transfer tube, and test line can be stored with the LifePulse. However, caution number 1, do not install the pinch tube in the pinch valve prior to actual patient setup. Second, notice that the installation description includes only cartridge circuit tubing supplied by Bunnell Incorporated. This equipment is very specifically designed for the purpose of delivering high-frequency ventilation with the LifePulse. Therefore, caution number 2 is do not make modifications to the supplies or the setup procedure. Pressures can't be monitored accurately, and the LifePulse will not work properly if other equipment is teed into the pressure monitoring tube or if leaks are present in the circuit. Therefore, do not alter any of the circuitry that comes with the LifePulse.